Buffalo Bills fans, this might just be the year. Your team has started red hot, Josh Allen is looking unbeatable, and those Chiefs are, let's just say, wobbling. Of course, the real driving force behind Bills Mafia is none other than the reigning MVP, Josh Allen. This guy put the team on his back and destroyed almost the entire NFL in 2024, only just falling short of the Super Bowl. Now, in 2025, the team around him is stronger than ever, and there are absolutely zero signs of him slowing down. So, let's remind ourselves why the NFL should fear Josh Allen. Josh Allen's rise to the top of this fantastic sport has been a sight to behold. As a top 10 pick, this is always what Buffalo had in mind, but even they could never have imagined it turning out this well. In fact, after just 1 year in the NFL, this kind of outcome must have seemed entirely impossible. As a rookie, Allen completed just 52.8% of his passes and contributed more interceptions than touchdowns. The team also declined to a 6-10 record, and while a team-leading 631 yards and 8 touchdowns on the ground showed just how much of a menace Allen could be as a runner, there was still plenty of reason for concern. Thankfully, improvement came in 2019 in the form of 3,089 yards, 20 touchdowns, and 9 interceptions, along with a 10-6 record that gave Allen his first taste of playoff football. Then, 1 year later, nobody was prepared for what went down. In his third season as a starter, Josh Allen treated Bills fans to a breakout of epic proportions, passing for a whopping 4,544 yards, 37 touchdowns, and 10 interceptions, while also collecting 421 yards and 8 touchdowns on the ground. Those are MVP caliber numbers. And while Allen would have to wait another 5 years to officially receive the award for the first time, there was no denying that he was ticking all the boxes. The standout number to come from this breakout season was his 69.2% completion rate, which was 10% higher than what he logged in 2019 as a sophomore. We already knew that this guy could run, and now that he had a top 5 completion rate to go along with it, the Buffalo Bills officially had one of the most unique and dangerous quarterbacks in the entire NFL. As a result, they stormed to a 13-3 record, winning their first division title since 1995. Yes, 1995. That's 25 years of pain gone. Just like that. And it was all thanks to Josh Allen. The quarterback played much better in the postseason at his second time of asking, but we all know how it ended. A 38-24 loss to the Kansas City Chiefs in the AFC Championship game would kickstart a run of heartbreaking playoff losses that is still active to this day. Still, Buffalo fans can at least take some comfort in the fact that they know they have one of the best in the business, and these playoff losses are absolutely not on him. Across his 7 seasons in the NFL, Allen has played 13 playoff games, completing 75.7% of his passes for 3,359 yards, 25 touchdowns, and just 4 interceptions. Of course, he's also been a beast with his legs, collecting 668 postseason yards on the ground at 6 yards per carry, to go along with 7 touchdowns. There are many quarterbacks out there who have received countless criticisms for their playoff record, and whose legacies are currently being defined by them. While Josh Allen has certainly had his fair share of playoff disappointment, he does not deserve to be on this list. He has repeatedly put his team on his back and delivered at the highest level under the bright lights of playoff football. And maybe, just maybe, this is going to be the year that it all comes together for him. Things certainly seem to be pointing in the right direction. As the reigning MVP, Josh Allen is completely at the peak of his powers, and the terrifying thing for the rest of the NFL is that he appears to be in an even better position this time around. Through 3 games, he's completing 69.7% of his passes, which is a career high, for 755 yards, 5 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions. And, as per usual, he's still as dangerous as ever on the ground, already collecting 114 yards and 2 scores as a runner. This puts him on track to smash the totals he posted last season in his MVP winning campaign. As a passer in 2024, he averaged 219 passing yards per game, which culminated in 3,731 yards, 28 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions. This year, albeit in a small sample size, he is averaging 251 yards per game, which extrapolated out over 17 games equates to 4,278 yards. Of course, when it comes to handing out the MVP award, there's another number that is incredibly important. That is the team's overall record. And Buffalo are looking pretty damn good sitting at 3-0, having already knocked off the Baltimore Ravens in a Week 1 thriller. The reason the NFL should be terrified is that the situation around Josh Allen is somehow better than it was last year when he won his MVP. The offensive line is legitimately one of the best in the entire NFL. Yes, they were last year as well, but this year, they've had an extra season to gel together and familiarize themselves with the offense. We are already seeing that pay dividends for James Cook, who, frankly, after receiving a shiny new $48 million contract extension, is somehow already looking like bargain value. Cook is one of the smoothest rushers in the entire NFL, and through the first 3 weeks of the season, he has been at his brilliant best. It always helps having some very talented big guys up front creating lanes for you, but Cook has proven that he is more than capable of making magic happen on his own as well. The vision, the contact balance, and the acceleration are just insane. James Cook really is one of the most talented and exciting running backs in the NFL, and to stick him alongside Josh Allen in the backfield, behind that offensive line, is just unfair. Cook is averaging 5.4 yards per carry this season, which comes after a 4.9 yards per carry effort last year, in which he proved himself as a goal line back, collecting 16 touchdowns on the ground. For context, he scored just 4 rushing touchdowns total over the first 2 years of his career. This kind of short yardage production is incredibly impressive, and yet another huge asset to an offense that already has so much going for it. For Josh Allen, Cook is the ultimate companion. He is so shifty and such a dangerous home run threat, the defense simply has to account for him. Of course, that means there is softer coverage for Josh Allen to play with as both a rusher and a passer. And on the topic of the passing game, Buffalo have made significant improvements there in 2025. One of the main reasons Josh Allen won the MVP award in 2024 was because the Bills ranked second in offensive scoring last year, despite the fact that their leading receiver, Khalil Shakir, had only 821 yards and 4 touchdowns. Behind him, the next leading receiver was Keon Coleman with 556 yards. So I think it's fair to say that Allen didn't exactly have a ton of help in the receiving game. Now, for Buffalo to still rank second in offensive scoring is incredibly impressive, and the scary thing for the rest of the NFL in 2025 is that this receiving group looks a lot more competent and well-rounded. After just 3 games, they already have 4 players with over 100 receiving yards, with last year's leader, Khalil Shakir, currently sitting in 3rd place. Bills fans will be delighted to see Keon Coleman leading the way in his sophomore season. After crossing the 100-yard mark just once as a rookie, Coleman hit triple digits in his first game as a sophomore. The 2 games since then have been much quieter, but there is still plenty of reason for optimism. Matt Harmon, who is the founder of Reception Perception, noted significant improvement in Coleman's ability to sell the vertical route, throttle down, and work back to the quarterback or break over the middle. For a guy who entered the league with question marks over his route running ability, that is great to see, meaning there's still hope that he can develop into a true alpha receiver for Josh Allen. If he's able to lock down that X receiver role for the Bills, it will take a ton of pressure off the guys predominantly working over the middle, Khalil Shakir and Dalton Kincaid. The football season is here, and this year, I'll be using ProfitX as my go-to for season-long plays and player props. ProfitX is America's #1 sports prediction market, where you can win real money predicting sports in 40+ states. You'll get better odds than traditional sports books because you're playing against others, not the house. With ProfitX, you can request your own odds, play with confidence, and get super fast payouts straight to your bank, card, or even crypto. And here's the best part. Right now, if you sign up at ProfitX.co and use promo code TDK, you'll get up to $200 in profit cash on all your plays for the first 30 days. Sign up now at ProfitX.co and start winning real money predicting sports. Terms and conditions apply. At this stage of his career, it feels like we already know what to expect from Shakir, and I'll come on to him shortly. But what we have seen so far from Dalton Kincaid is also really promising for the Bills. After being drafted in the first round of the 2023 NFL Draft, Kincaid has been slightly underwhelming so far in his career. However, after a strong offseason, he has already matched his career high in touchdowns with 2, and his 151 yards put him comfortably on track to set career highs there as well. The Bills can save a good chunk of money by moving on from Dawson Knox after the 2025 season, so it should come as no surprise that they are trying to get the younger tight end involved. And so far, that decision is paying off. He led the team in receiving yards in Week 3 with 5 receptions for 66 yards and a touchdown on Thursday Night Football against the Miami Dolphins, and he was so close to bringing in a second touchdown as well. Kincaid only managed 448 yards in 2024, but if he can continue on this pace, he should double that, giving his MVP quarterback yet another good weapon to utilize. When you add in Shakir as an uber-reliable slot receiver and Josh Palmer as another very useful veteran, you get a receiving core that looks significantly more refined and well-rounded than they were in 2024. On top of that, we've only scratched the surface with the running backs, who are also very talented pass-catching options out of the backfield. James Cook is just as much of a threat to take any play to the house as a receiver as he is a runner, and Ty Johnson has to be considered one of the best change of pace pass-catching backs in the entire NFL. All in all, this is pointing to yet another dominant season for Josh Allen. He was good enough to take his team to the AFC Championship game and win an MVP in 2024, and his offense has only gotten better in 2025, which should be a terrifying thought for the rest of the NFL. Frankly, you may as well chalk these guys up as a playoff team already. Their juggernaut status has clearly carried over from the 2024 season, as expected, and they will benefit from facing a relatively soft schedule considering their status. Ahead of the season, their strength of schedule was ranked 23rd in the NFL, and nothing we have seen so far suggests anything other than another dominant year. They have already proven that they can beat fellow AFC juggernaut, the Baltimore Ravens, having done so in Week 1 of this 2025 season, as well as in the divisional round of the 2024 playoffs. Then, on top of that, this finally looks like it might be the year that the Kansas City Chiefs are vulnerable. I know, you've heard that before, but something truly does feel different this time around. With them, their MVP quarterback is at the peak of his powers. He will receive more help from his offensive colleagues this time around, and the rest of the AFC picture is looking shaky. Surely, this is the year that Josh Allen and his Buffalo Bills get across the line and reach the Super Bowl. But do you agree? Let me know what you think in the comments.